Duqm, if we're talking about the Duqm, the location of the project, is actually a fantastic investment opportunity. As a whole, it's latest of the three main hubs in the country, but is the one that offers today the greatest versatility and the greatest flexibility in where investment can be done. So basically, it's a place where the possibilities in terms of location, in terms of policies, and in terms of access to the land are all united in one plan or one location, supported by a really state-of-the-art infrastructure, and specifically a logistic infrastructure, meaning access to an airport, access to a port, and access to a road network that covers and connects Duqm to Oman and the rest of the GCC. When you start a strategic project like this one, it's all around and about connectivity. We need to make sure that investment that comes to Duqm and Oman at large are connected both locally and internationally. And because today about 80% of all the goods that are moved around the world are moved by ship, we need to have an access to the sea. And a port needs to be that access. So the efficiency of a port is really crucial, in this case the Port of Duqm, to make sure that whatever investment that happens, and whether it's today or in the future in Duqm, can support or be supported by this efficient and connected port. So basically what we're doing is working with the authorities, working with the investors to see what are the specific needs and how we can make sure that they are addressed on a fast, efficient and economical way. So coming back to what I was saying, the port is really the first connection point from any investment to the international markets. Port, like any infrastructure, is nothing without the people that are working in it. So extremely proud to be working again with the authorities, with our partners, to make sure that we work on having knowledge transfer. We are there also to create jobs, to create work opportunity, to create learning opportunities. So if I look into that, there's two elements. We are very proud to take over 80 trainees every year inside the Port of Duqm in our various departments, from HR to operation to IT to the finance, and that is by that giving knowledge transfer from our team, from our international partners to the local young workforce. Secondly, we are proud to be over 85% Omanized inside the Port of Duqm, showing our trust in the capacity and actually the excellent capacity of Omani workforce. And this is something that we like to showcase. And actually, as the port grows, we like to incorporate more young and efficient Omani boys and girls within the Port of Duqm family. Duqm Economical Forum is actually an event that we're looking for. The first edition 3 years ago was really extremely successful, and it is really a platform where everybody that has something to do with Duqm at large is present. So it's a moment where we can all meet, we can all work on our collaboration, on our teamwork, because at the end of the day, when you have such an ambitious project, it is not something that is done in silo. It is something that is done with collaboration, and the best way to collaborate is to know each other and to meet. With the DEF events, it is really the platform where we can meet people that we haven't seen, or actually people that we are working with on a regular basis, and make sure that the ecosystem is reinforced. So for me, I really encourage any person that is looking for investing in Duqm, knowing Duqm, or already active in Duqm, to join us again in 2025, because if you have anything to do or want to do with Duqm, you need to be there to make sure that you're part of this journey. What is extremely exciting, that's really what drives me, is that the opportunities that are in Duqm and in Oman at large, but in Duqm in particular, are theoretically unlimited. What I mean is that we have an infrastructure, as I mentioned, we have the land availability, we have policies that are there and put in place to encourage investment. But also, which is very close to my heart, having children and looking at the future, we have also a green agenda and a green path. And as much as we are relying on hydrocarbon economy, we have in Duqm a refinery. We're looking for downstream petrochemical. We are supporting the upstream in the oil and gas. So we have an oil and gas related industry, but equally we are looking to our future, and the future goes towards green energy with solar and wind, towards green hydrogen for other types of energy. We're really able to encapsulate in one location the standard energy and the future energy. And so that means that when industries are looking to invest in Duqm or in a place like Duqm, they can rely on the already proven technology and means of work, but also work towards a greener, decarbonized world within the same ecosystem, because we are preparing ourselves for that transition. And it's not only words, we have big projects that are announced and have been awarded. So this is something that is on the go and on the move, and having industries that are sharing these values of decarbonization while relying on an existing and ensured setup is what we're looking for. So I think that when it comes to Duqm, we are like a lot of other zones in the sense that we have what I would call to a certain extent the standard perks. So repatriation of our capital, low tax regime, extremely flexible in the possibility for investment. But I think what we have on top of it is the fact that not only do we have these perks that a lot of zones in the world have, but we have on top of that a location. Location is important. I think that if you look at the last year and all the turmoil that happened, whether it is the region or globally, man-made or natural, we quickly see that the choice of a location that gives a secured access, so virtually uninterrupted access to very large market, is more and more important in the value chain and the supply chain of the company. So this is something that a location like Duqm in particular, and actually Oman at large, but Duqm in particular, can be part of the solution. Secondly, as I was mentioning before, more and more companies need to have in their vision a decarbonization strategy. But we all know that the split from a carbon incentive industry to decarbonize is something that is difficult, and we need to make sure there is a frame, an environment to facilitate this decarbonization journey. What's happening in Duqm is we have actually, and we are putting with the authority, this frame around decarbonization. And I think this is something also quite unique in the values that Duqm can offer to investors. Duqm can still be qualified as a greenfield project, meaning that we are in an area where the infrastructure has been laid out by the authorities, and now it is up to the private sector to come with for the next step. So basically, this has lots of plus and positive in the sense that you can still have big plot of land at a very close distance from the infrastructure you need, availability of utility, availability of energy. So all these are the plus part. Now, on the other part, it is still to a certain extent a market of early adopters. So that means that we are really targeting the companies that have a long-term vision, as I mentioned earlier, on decarbonization, on location, on policy space. And what is important when looking at investing is Duqm is really set and come very clearly with what are the objectives of this investment. And once the objectives are clear, the apparatus around, be it the logistic part, the governmental part, or even to a certain extent the private sector, can be put in motion to accommodate and to fit these requirements. So I think that the best advice that I can give to companies or entities looking to invest in Duqm is set your goal clear and set also the criteria of success and what you need and what you aspire for very clearly. Because with these two elements, then we can very efficiently work together and come to a solution, a tailor-made solution. There is no ready-made local. We are inventing it day by day. You mentioned it earlier. I think that there are two aspects to this question. First of all, and I haven't maybe mentioned it enough, the political stability is something that is crucial. I think again that the recent year have proved to us that the surroundings sometimes can be unstable and politically unstable, ecologically unstable, but Oman is on the path that has been extremely linear and predictable. And this is something that investment like. They like predictability in their investment location. So this is something that is important. And going forward, you see what's in it for Oman. I think that this predictability, this stability is one of the key assets and advantage of Oman. Now, building on top of it, for me, what is really important is the fact that there is a vision. So we know where we're coming from. We can rely on hydrocarbon. But with that, we're not resting on quiet, we're looking forward. And I think that this is essential because it will allow not only the company, but also the society and the employment to actually be oriented towards jobs that are going to be future-proofed. If you go towards renewable, if you go towards sustainable, if you go towards these areas, these are fields that will support the stress of time for the future. And I think that what is happening in areas like Duqm, Special Economic Zone, and others, is actually to seed these industries that will be future-proofed and that will then eventually provide more job and more sustainable job for Omanis in the region. First of all, an important one. Technology evolves extremely fast. And because it evolves extremely fast, two things are important. One is the agility. Can we change? Can the law change fast enough to allow these new technologies deployment? And I think that on that part, the fact that you have an authority like OPAS that have the mandate actually to put rules and regulation for within economic zones is extremely interesting, because then you can adapt the rules towards new technology. Secondly, we don't have legacy. If you look to more or to older established economical entities or landscape, you have legacies that needs to be maintained and are difficult to change. Here we don't have these legacies, so we are able to actually adapt, incorporate, and deploy the latest technology available. And I think this is definitely something that is also a plus, where investors can look at and actually that we can learn from going forward. Oman is putting the right ingredient in what is, for me, a future-proof economical zone. And with that, we want to attract and we want to have the persons that are looking for a sustainable, but in all terms, whether it is economically sustainable, environmentally sustainable, or socially sustainable future, to look at a place like Duqm and make sure that this is high on their potential investment location, because the whole country is putting the right elements to make it a success.